one of the weakest points of their game, and that is the combat. Everybody has been saying it. It looks clunky, it looks slow. You know, this ultimately is it's very brave of them to showcase this, and you know, they know that ult combat is probably the weakest link to their game. But let's be honest, it is a survival crafting game. It's not really focused around PvP until like really end game, so you're really not going to be in the thick of it with the whole PvP aspect of the game until a little bit later. I'm not here to blaze Dune Awakening. I'm not here to bash Dune Awakening either. I'm here to give my feedback and show you guys what I saw in this, and ultimately what I think is the biggest problem in Dune Awakening. He was making a lot of whiffs with the melee, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. There's some stuff here in the beginning that we're going to touch on, though, that's, you know, some core things about Dune Awakening that you guys should know about, and then we'll get right into talking about weak link. Without further ado, let's go right into it. Okay, so in the beginning here, they ultimately were stating that they're going to be showcasing the solo gameplay in the beginning, and then they're going to show a squad gameplay later. However, they've also got a problem here off the rip, right? You can notice a few things. On the bottom left hand side here, he's got no water, and you just saw the screen turn completely desaturated, right? He is completely out of water, and you can notice that by these things in game. His character looks like she's slumping over. She really needs a drink of water. She's dehydrated. He's also standing in direct sun, so he has sunstroke as well, which isn't helping at all. It's a good thing to point out right now is on that water bar. That water bar has two little notches, and every time your water level is past one of those notches, you actually have more stamina, like way more stamina, and you'll be able to roll and dash a lot more. After that, they kind of go into some of the weapons here. They start talking about a few of the weapons that are potentially possible for you to find and get in the game or craft. The first thing that they showcase here is the heal kit, and the next thing he shows is the artisan Kindle, which is your melee weapon. This is a short blade. Ultimately, it's going to be used in close combat, things like that, and to break shields, you know, slow blades and whatnot. The next one is more like an SMG. It's called the Artisan Disruptor M11. So this is going to be the equivalency of an SMG. It's going to shoot really fast. It's got a really quick fire rate. Then next up here, we have the Artisan Karpov 38, which is more like an assault rifle, which this gun is also an automatic rifle. Be able to shoot it. It's got a pretty quick fire rate, but it does more damage than the SMG. It also comes with a little bit of a longer reload, and obviously you'll be able to use this more at a range versus the SMG that we just looked at a while ago. The Disruptor will be used in more of a close quarters in building style area. Up next is the Artisan Gerda 44, which is the equivalency of a shotgun. This does a really insane amount of damage per shot. Super bad range, really slow reload speed. You know, if you're going to be using this weapon, it's a one and done shot really quick. Maybe you better hit the shot. You miss, you're going to have to swap weapons or something, because this thing is really slow to reload. Now, obviously, all these weapons have their use cases when you're going to need them. But moving on, he does showcase some of the outfit that he is wearing, which is the Slayer outfit. He's wearing the Slayer headpiece, Slayer chest piece, Slayer pants, and boots. Now, he did showcase this next thing, which is the battery pack. Ultimately, that's going to be keeping the resource called energy up for you. Your energy resource is used by two different things on your character. One of them being the shield that you have, and we're going to talk about that more in a minute. The shield, and then you have another utility item, which ultimately you could use to jump in the air and kind of float around. That does use energy, so the battery pack that you have ultimately will correlate to how good of a resource region you have or how it can sustain. All right, now we're going to talk about the shield. The shield can be activated and it will stay up until you shoot. Whenever you shoot, your shield drops, which means you're going to have to be a little strategic with how you decide to, you know, engage in combat. So engaging in combat is going to feel a little strategic with this, because if you shoot and they shoot back, you're going to get hit without having your shield on. And ultimately, you probably don't want that to happen. Here he's showcasing that utility that I just spoke about, where you can basically float around. It's not really good at verticality. There are some other ones that do different things. However, this one specifically just allows him to float. But he did quickly go through some of the different classes here. The only one he really kind of touched on here was the trooper. I'm going to go over a more detailed breakdown on these specific classes in another video when I'm allowed to. However, he did touch on a few here. And then after showcasing those classes, they decided to actually showcase the solo gameplay. Solo gameplay here is going to be cut up a little bit. I'm not going to play out the whole thing, but we're going to point out a few different things here, guys, because in this preview that they showcased, the one thing that I think that this game could benefit from, and maybe it's just not going to be possible to be used in PvP terms, but in PvE, there needs to be some type of targeting. Because what he does in this is he runs forward, he lunges at the enemy, and ultimately he'll go right past where he lunged at. And it's not because the enemy ultimately dodged out of the way. It's because there's no targeting system in Dune Awakening, and no aim assist. So he goes and he lunges right past them, leaving himself completely vulnerable. This is something that is a huge problem. This is problem number one. Okay, this is the only thing that I could really point out in this so far. I think that Dune Awakening implemented some type of aim assist or some type of targeting mechanic, at least for PvE players or PvE zones and events, would be a huge change and it'd feel a little bit better. However, right now you're kind of just waving a blade around and hoping you hit somebody. And in this preview, you'll even notice that sometimes he's not even looking at the enemy. He'll have his back to the enemy, and I don't even think he meant to do this. It's just how the targeting or the direction he's looking, you're going to be slashing at. So if you're not slashing toward the right direction, you're going to not hit the enemy. There's no targeting in this. It's going to be very difficult for a lot of people. All right, so this part here is the part that really bugged me the most, okay? Watch this combat. Just pay attention to how this works out. See that right there? He directly, the enemy did not dodge out of the way. He lunged to hit him with the knife and missed completely, just sliding right past them because there's no targeting system. Anyway, going forward, it kind of becomes a pretty much the same situation.
We will not fight the heavy because that is a huge problem. Repel, advance.
What is this? What just happened there? Like, what? Why did that happen? I just don't understand how we're not hitting the enemy. We're looking away from the enemy the whole time. We're slashing around him. I think he even tried to slow blade the guy in this. Again, this entire fight here, this made me cringe so bad watching.
Power tools. Try again. Dash in. Ace. Great. Follow. Stagger, push through. There we go.
Even a combat designer can play perfectly every single time. That's totally fine.
Yes,
it's the hardware of the gaming chair.
Now, they did blame the hardware on this. It's hard to really blame the hardware on that. We'll see how that goes. All right, so next up, they're going to be showcasing the squad gameplay, and there's actually a PvP moment in here as well, where I guess they all decide to kind of double cross each other when they get to the end where the rewards are. So you don't know if there's other enemies around, you won't know who they are, or if they're part of your squad or not. It's a little chaotic, and things can get really lost in translation, especially if you're not communicating in these things. So nameplates, we need them. I think it's a big deal. I think it's going to be a big problem. Okay, it's going to be a lot of trolling happening, which could be funny, could be really great, and I think maybe that's how they intend the game to be. Wasn't a fan of this, not going to be a fan of it, honestly. And another thing is, they'll explain it in a minute, but the loot system in these things, in PvE, everybody gets the loot. In this situation where they're at currently, in the deep desert or whatever they're running currently,
deep desert compared to PvE areas. PvP loot and PvE loot works differently. So in PvE, everybody gets the loot. You can't cheat anyone because anyone going up to the loot box, exactly, they will get the loot. However, here you have to trust that the first person to get the loot actually will share it with you, which may or may not be the case.
So better make sure you have good friends. Like, let's call it, let's say it that way, right? So
the first person to loot gets it. So you have to hope that if it's something that you need, they'll be able to share it with you. So make sure you have good friends and people that you're running this stuff with, I guess, because that, in my opinion, is another problem. Not having shared loot. What if people are just running through looting stuff and getting to it before you? You're not going to get anything. You just spent all that time running through these dungeons with these people. that you might trust or you might not trust, and ultimately you have to expect that if they got to the loot before you, maybe they share with you, or what if they don't and you just wasted your time on all this, and that is another problem.
Things like
Okay.
poison, explosives, flame when delivered in an AoE, which is also flamethrower, and in a deployable like you showed me using the assault seeker beforehand. And CC effects like suspensor grenade or reduction grenades are also applied in full. So you really need to manage where you deploy your AoE CCs to not hamper your allies. I believe our players have just defeated one of the waves, and then they're now preparing to receive the next. They will rearm and re-equip and be ready to rock and roll.
Here we see it, the turret.
Yes, which is a method ability, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's like actually one of the first method abilities that we played. And now we're in prescient state again. So see all the
That's
information.
what NPCs against. Let's see how well we do. A little bit of panic, a little bit of crossfire. The question is, will our team survive and succeed and receive the rewards?
Depends on the hardware, from what I understand.
Nice one. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, brownie points. That was really nice.
Good job.
Good job, team. It was wonderful.
And we can see here on the left, in the lower left corner, that they're all grouped up. You see the names of them and everything. So
Right, yes.
Good going group, good going team.
Absolutely.
Someone took one for the team, which is totally okay. Someone you have to have a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
And now, that awkward moment where trust is tested in terms of who chooses who gets the loot.
Exactly.
Who knows?
Well, you have
Exactly.
a leader. You have a leader who hopefully like distributes loot fairly. But yeah, you nicely see there the group set. Actually, the group setup just changed.
Okay.
Oh, it's oof.
Who? The group setup is changing there behind the scenes. Okay, yeah, nice.
It's one of those moments when friends decide not to be nice to each other.
Or
Say
friends
it again.
won't be
Make sure
friends.
you know your friends. You have close friends.
Yeah.
Was it like
Oh.
keep your friends close? No, keep your enemy close. No, keep your friends close. Your enemy closer. Keep your friends close, your enemy closer.
Oh, from the second perspective. Oof.
It's just, this is a single.
So, a 2-on-2 fight, a 2-on-2 player fight in a confined space is going to get messy. There's going to be colors on the screen. There's going to be effects going off. We will see if we can comment as best as we can to what's happening.
See,
feel like
there's
esports
someone
commentator,
dead there already.
like-
Oh, they took somebody down. That was very fast.
Is it two
No.
versus one
Oh,
now?
stamina
Or
list.
is it? Yeah, 2 versus 1. Yeah. Oh, nice.
Oh.
This is very nice.
Oh, someone went
And he
prescient.
managed to catch him.
Cheating! They're cheating.
No, I mean,
I would call it cheating. If someone goes prescient and I can't, it's obviously cheating. Someone
I
has like.
believe somebody got betrayed.
looks like it.
Oh, and there's another. Oh, there's a second
Ooh,
betrayal.
That was a Bennett Chester skill on a friend.
That's
That's
funny.
like the ultimate betrayal. If you use a Bennett Chester skill on your friend,
Yeah.
that is just the ultimate betrayal.
The question is, who is the better player?
This is an interesting fight.
This is very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Oh, it's
Someone ran
getting
out of
staggered.
stamina.
No, yeah. It's 1v1.
Oh.
Oh,
And then we
it's
saw the new whirlwind.
Yeah.
so.
Sword is there. Oh, I believe. Oh, the counter is back. Needs to be a little bit more ability use and a little bit better stamina management. Bank your stamina and deploy it in one big burst.
Actually, you don't see the stamina on the other player, even if you're prescient, which
No.
is actually really. I think that's.
Oh, boom.
Oh, that's close! It almost got one of the players is sitting
Some
right
ten- some
here,
tension in the
and he
room
just
here.
went like throwing his head back, and his headphone just went flying. It's just like, well done, though, team. Well done.
Another thing that I want to mention, and they actually talk about it here in this video, is the server structures and what's going to happen whenever you're trying to get into a 40 player per siege Haga Basin server thing going on here. Because yeah, it's very interesting, and from what I understand, we're going to be sitting in queues, and I'm a little worried about launch day, how that's going to really play out and go for them and us, because in this video, he actually mentions that we will be sitting in queues. I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually come out and say that before, but he did literally state it in the video that we would be sitting in queues if there's, if they're full.
So Dune Awakening has a very unique, somewhat different server structure to the type of games you'd expect. If you're a survival player, you're probably used to one map, one server. But Dune Awakening has kind of a larger server structure on the back end. So we have what we call worlds. Worlds are made up of multiple servers, which we call internally sietches. So often when you join a sietch, you'll see here in this infographic that Hager Basin has this big stack of sietches. So when you sign up, you'll choose your world and then you'll join a sietch within that world. Each of those Hager Basin sietches contains maximum 40 players per map, but all of those maps add up to create the entire world. The Deep Desert, the social hubs like Harko Village and Arakeen, they are actually shared social spaces in the world. The Deep Desert being the big PvP area in the world. And of course, so we're talking about we have this 5-day head start. I know people are concerned. The thing is, you'll be able to join worlds that we open during that head start. We will also open more worlds when the game launches, but you can also join a sietch in a world that isn't necessarily the same sietch as your friend, but you'll be able to go and visit your friend. You'll be able to do a lot of stuff with your friend. So it's kind of, you're not going to be locked out for the most part of any content when you join after the head start. Also, I would say get better friends and let them buy you the head start. That's another thing I think is a really good option.
That's the way to go.
No, you also said 40 players per max per server or siege. What happens if someone joins anyway? If there's
if more than 40 people try to join at one time, so it's concurrent users, so CCU, and that means that then they'll be put into a queue to wait to join. So we can have more characters on a server than 40. We can have, several hundred, but that means people play at different times of day when people join, so there will be a queuing system in place to allow people to wait in line to get into the servers.
Yeah, those are my worries. That is my feedback. I hope that Dune Awakening has a great launch. I hope that they hear this feedback and they ultimately take their combat in under the knife a little bit. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about all of this, and I will catch you guys in the next video. If y'all like Dune Awakening content, I'm trying to cover as much as I can about it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.